Hey everyone, thanks for joining the video today that I'm going to be doing on Bitcoin. It is January 29th, 2020, and this month is almost over and it's looking very promising. But again, I do want to talk about some of the things we discussed yesterday. We did a little bit of a video yesterday. We were talking about some potential areas to watch, and yeah, so I want to take a look at that and see if we think that this move is completed, if we've hit some algo targets, if we maybe have a little bit more upside ahead of us. But yeah, basically just wanting to pay attention to our current price action and talking about what we have overhead. So of course this isn't financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just giving my opinion on the market. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, and doing your own research. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here at the chart and see what we've got here. So we were talking yesterday about a potential move down to about $8,800. We were talking about a basing move down here to 382. It just so happens we did not go that far. We stopped at the 236, which is pretty bullish. So we basically couldn't close below the 236. So I'm basically counting this move from down here, starting down here where we were at about 82, 82.20, 82.23, somewhere in this range. Looking at this as a 1, 2, and then we're looking at this as completing the 3, and this looks like we have a little bit of an expanded flat into a 4. So we did come all the way down to about 88.80 or so, and then actually the low there 88.86, and then we start this move up higher. Now the big question is, based on this move, our algo target was the bottom of this green box, which was at, let's see, the algo target was really at 93.66. As we all know, we went just a little over 9,400, I believe. We went to about 94.41, somewhere in that range, and then we're starting to, of course, do a little bit of a pullback. The interesting thing about this move is I do like to take a look at market geometry. I want to take a look at the amount of time it takes for some of these moves to take place. So the first things first, the amount of time it took from this top here, let me get this, to the bottom right here, it only took about 9 hours. So we corrected basically the first move to the second move. We corrected that in about 9 hours. Okay, then we took a lot of time to put in this third. I'm not a real big fan as how long it took to get up here. But then when we went into the correction phase, we corrected this move in about 16 hours. Okay, so that was basically from that projected 3 down to where we have our 4. It took about 16 hours. So not 100% equality. There was a little bit of an extended period of time it took to do our fourth wave. But this first wave wasn't very clean to begin with. The way that this kind of worked out, it went pretty deep, and I just don't like it. And then, of course, it took us a long time, right? So, I mean, imagine this. It only took us like maybe 6 hours to do our first wave. And then, we spent, how long did we spend here? Let's just go ahead and take a look. We spent, almost 3 days working our way on this wave 3. We're doing our wave 4. Now we're working on wave 5. So the question is wave 5 done? All right, so again, we were talking yesterday about using our measurement tools to basically measure the bottom of the 2 to the top of our projected 3. And then we're going to be looking for a move back here to the 236 or the 382. Really would have liked for this to come down to the 382, but it didn't. It stopped. It extended about halfway between the 236 and the 382. It's okay. And then we're looking for this move up here, and we hit that target. So we did hit that target. Even if we didn't count this as the 3, but we counted this as the 3 up here, let's go ahead and move this up here, make some adjustments. Okay, so if that was the 3 there, right, this would be a very, very, very quick correction, which is possible. It's possible that this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the third, then we go into the 4, and now we're working on making our 5th move. The algo target there would be 94.24, and we have hit that target 1, 2, 3 times. Now we're kind of struggling. We're sitting here at 93.24. I'm going to get rid of some of these Fibonacci pulls, and I want to take a look at the current price action. At this point, I do believe that this is the 4. There's question whether or not this is the 3 here or this is the 3 here. It doesn't matter so much. Now, what really matters is our price action right here. We were taking a look at this move potentially going all the way up to 97.50. But you know, we do believe that there is probably going to be another push here. But as far as rate of return goes, I think we're reaching the point of diminishing returns. We're reaching the point where things are overextended, and buying here is probably going to be met with a lot of pain here in the coming days. Because there is the very, very good possibility that we come back down to 8,800, possibility we come back down even farther than that, you know, potentially back to, and if I go to, say, a 3-hour time frame and take a look at this, potential that we come all the way back down here to where we had our 1 wave to 4 wave, somewhere between the top of the 1 and the bottom of the 4, very possible that we come back to. So yeah, very possible that we do move up a little bit more, but I do think that we are getting close to being finished with this move. If we take a look at our 12-hour stochastic, I want to focus just on the 12-hour here for just a moment. So I'm going to get rid of the 3-hour. I'm going to get rid of the current time frame, and just taking a look at the 12-hour here. So this is our red stochastic that I've got. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide some of this other stuff here so that we've got less clutter in front of us. So let's just take a look at this 12-hour. This has actually done a pretty good job of defining where our tops and where our bottoms are. And what I see here, right here where we crossed, this is basically about the time where we pivoted to the downside back here. And then when we got all the way down here, you can see we crossed again in this range right here, right around the time where I was saying to buy down here 8,300. And this is where it was crossing bullish, and it basically has been moving up. And now we're to the point where we are in overbought territory again, and these are on larger time frames. This is on a 12-hour time frame. So obviously this is going to take some time to play out. And it is possible that we move higher because, again, if you take this metric back here, where it was very similar to where it is now, you know, the price did extend up one more time before it got, you know, a major rejection. Okay, and I do expect that that is possible. I guess that's kind of a wishy-washy statement that I expect that it's possible, but I do recognize that it is possible for us to make that push up to 97.50. But I would be very, very careful. You know, if you are not in a position right now, I would be very careful buying here because it is very possible that this is going to turn around, you know, probably do get that push up and then basically clear out any shorts that open right here. We do push up and then we get a pretty quick rejection. I would expect there to be a pretty swift rejection. You know, these things happen in ways that are going to prevent users from exiting their positions in profit, especially those that are buying long positions here. People that are buying long positions here are more likely to get stopped out, and due to market slippage, probably are going to get stopped out even if your stop loss is in profit. Depending on how the chain of events occur, you probably are not going to be able to get out of that position profitably, and it's very, very you have to be very careful if you're in a leverage position. And again, when I do leverage, I always advocate using very, very low leverage, so like 5x leverage or less, and just being very careful there. But I do think right now, as long as we are staying below, let me move to the hourly and show you what I'm looking at here. As long as we stay below this level, and I was talking about this on the Discord earlier. Let me pull this down here and make this so that it's very easy for us to see. We do have a support and resistance flip, and if I do a channel on this, so again, going from the top of this move right here, working my way over, going down here to the bottom of this move, actually it's almost perfect. Not quite, but it's almost perfect. So what we can see here, we see lots of support here at the median. And then when we had our expansion to the downside, this is now providing as resistance. So right here, the median is what I'm really paying the most attention to. And the median right here, I'm going to say it's probably going to be somewhere between 93.30 and 93.40, somewhere in that range. If we can close an hourly above 93.30 to 93.40, I do believe that the chances of us making that push up are very likely. If we don't see that, then I do think that, if we continue to consolidate in this lower half of this channel, our chances of going down are much greater at this point. So all I'm really saying up here at this price point where we have open interest at, nearing our yearly high at about $1 billion on BitMEX. We have funding like seriously in favor of shorts right now on BitMEX. And then as far as an Elliott wave count is concerned, it is possible that we did an ABC correction here. So this is our bullish case, right? So from up here, we have an A, a B, and a C, and then what we would be expecting to then see is a follow-through. A follow-through on a bullish reaction going from here, creating a 1, a 2, and then we're going to be looking for a 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to expect that significant rejection from there. If this is a 1, 2 that we just completed, again, taking our trend-based fib extension, starting down here at the bottom, working our way to the top of the first wave, going down to the bottom of the second wave, our wave 3, we would expect to create a new high, which again is going to be at about, we'll just call it 94.75. Coming down here for the 4, probably going to find some support there at 9,400. Then we can go up for our 5, maybe 9,580, 9,600, somewhere in that range. Let me compress this just a little bit. And what that would allow us to do is that would allow us to complete this. Basically from here, we're looking at a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and then we complete the 5, which is going to take us potentially up to 9,600. I think that would be enough to cause a lot of people to get really overly ambitious, super extremely bullish. I think it is possible that we go up that high. I'm being very cautious right here. I did liquidate some of my spot position here in this range. It was about 93, 93.20, 93.10, somewhere in that range. I did liquidate all of my spot positions. But I do recognize it can go a little bit higher. But if there's one lesson to learn, and I'll go ahead and say this, and then I'll go ahead and end the session for today. If there's one thing to learn, it's that you're not always going to catch the bottom, you're not always going to catch the top, but you want to catch the majority of the move. And if you bought in at 8,300, where I was talking, you didn't catch the bottom. And it's okay to recognize you didn't catch the bottom. When we were down here at 8,300, the price went all the way down to 82.30. All right, so that's a $70 opportunity cost. Not a big deal. You got in at 8,300. I think it was actually 83.06 specifically when we were talking about this. At 83.06 to 93.25, you're talking about $1,000 move. Now, I know not everybody trades here one Bitcoin at a time. A lot of you out there are trading fractions of a Bitcoin at a time, and that's perfectly fine. But that is, from a percentage perspective, if you got in at 83.06, well, let's just say 83.12, and you got out right now, that is a 12% gain. A 12% gain over the course of what, 6-7 days, a week? That's significant. That is something that is not anything that people should be ashamed of, and there's no harm in taking profit. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is, yes, there is possibility that we go up to that $9,500, $9,600 mark. It's also equally as possible that we are done. So, no harm in paying yourself along the way. If you want to close out 60, 70% of your position and leave the 30, 40% for the hopes and dreams that it does go up to 95, 9,600, that's perfectly fine. I am just basically making a suggestion that you should manage your risk appropriately and be very careful for the potential that this could be done. So we'll kind of wait and see. Because there is the possibility that this was a 3, 4, and we have a truncation on the 5th, and we've just started basically a correction to the downside. So be very careful with your positions. And that's really what I wanted to discuss today. I don't want to get too much into macro perspective. I'm not going to be calling any targets to the downside or anything like that. I want to wait and see that we do have a confirmed pivot to the downside. But one way or another, very possible that we do see that push up, but that's not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed. And yeah, that's what I've got on Bitcoin right now. If you do have any questions or anything further, I'm always in the Discord. You can ask away. If you don't have access to our Discord, just throw in a comment. I'll be more than happy to get an invite code out to you. And of course, if this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, I do appreciate the likes, subscribes, and sharing the video and social media and all that good stuff. And wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day and a good evening and a good night.